Joins me now for more. And Nick, let's get this clear here. Did Apple just cave in to Taylor Swift?
They absolutely did. It's extraordinary. This is one of the most tightly run companies in the world. It doesn't change its ways for anything. Google can't change it. Microsoft can't change it. Customers can barely change it. But Taylor Swift puts one thing on Tumblr and boom, Apple completely changes policies that they spent months negotiating. It shows that she has unbelievable power.
Yeah, it underscores her power, but also underscores a very swift response by Apple. I mean, did it surprise you to see Apple, this global tech behemoth, pivot on this issue so quickly in less than a day?
Well, it did surprise me because when she first put out her letter, I wasn't entirely sympathetic, right? These terms have been negotiated. Of course, Apple needs to have a free trial so that people will learn how to use it and get them to switch from Spotify. It makes a lot of sense. If they're having a free trial, should they really be paying artists? Well, they've negotiated terms and they haven't. So the letter came out and I didn't think it was entirely persuasive. On the other hand, Apple certainly knew that if they launched this service, and they launch it next week, and Taylor Swift has just criticized it to her 26 bajillion fans, all of whom have retweeted it, all of the discussion about the launch is going to be about Taylor Swift. So I think Apple actually did act in a very canny way. They said, you know what? We're going to get slaughtered. Let's just pivot. Let's change. And then this story will go away, and they'll look like they're supporting artists, and they'll have Taylor Swift behind them instead of against them.
They made that calculation, and it sounds like they calculated well. And I wanted to ask you about Apple and social media, because, Apple responded to Taylor Swift in a series of tweets. This was a discussion taking place on social media platforms. Were you surprised by that level of social engagement from Apple?
I was impressed, right? So Apple's decision was announced late at night. It was about, I don't know, 11:30 in New York last night. And Eddie Q goes on Twitter and says, we're changing our policies. Thank you, Taylor Swift. And it was kind of funny. She had written her note saying, Dear Apple, love Taylor. They said, Dear Taylor, love Apple. Clearly, there hadn't been a lot of handlers working with Eddie Q because there were a bunch of typos in his tweets. So the whole exchange was very social media, very today, and I think Apple did. Apple absolutely handled the pivot quite well. They did it quickly. They did it on Twitter. They spoke to fans. They spoke directly to Taylor Swift. They did a very good job of turning around. Now, should they have figured this out in advance? Should they have anticipated? In the future, should all music companies that want to launch a platform negotiate both with the major labels and with Taylor Swift? Probably. So Apple made some mistakes in advance, but they did correct it fairly quickly.
Got it. So now Apple, correcting its mistakes, says it will pay artists for music streamed during the trial period. It's still going to go ahead with that 3-month free trial period. And just how critical is that free trial period for Apple Music to fly and to succeed?
Well, it's absolutely essential, right? So Apple has a new music product, and it's not that different from Spotify. It's not that different from its competitors. It hasn't really differentiated itself. They had their launch a couple of weeks ago, and it was kind of a bust. People weren't that excited about it. It seems sort of derivative. Apple's late to the streaming game. Everybody knows that streaming is the future of music. It took Apple a long time to realize it. Finally, they're coming out. They've launched a product, and it's not that exciting. What it does have going for it is that it's Apple. They'll integrate it into all its devices. They'll put it right in front of you. They'll make it impossible for you to get rid of it, as is Apple's way. And they already have your credit cards on file, so it'll be fairly easy to join. And if they can have some artists who aren't on Spotify, Taylor Swift is not on Spotify, they'll have another big advantage. So to your question, the 3-month period is absolutely essential because it's the period where people will join it. You can join Spotify for free. For now, for 3 months, you can try Apple for free. If they really like it, if they find there's some advantages that we haven't thought of before, it will stick, and then it will become a big business for Apple. So yes, absolutely essential for Apple that they have very positive conversations about this in the next period. So that's why they did this.